All right, folks, we're going to do something a little bit different on this episode. We are graced by the writer, director, master editor, Tom Sanchez, who hails from Lima, Peru. He has a short on HBO, and he has a full-length feature that we got from Amazon, but I'm sure it's available many of the places. He is a pure delight, and we've got a lot to unpack with him. So we're going to jump in there and talk with him for a little while, and you might learn a thing or two. Join us.
Are you recording it already?
Almost.
Talking with words.
Hey, hey, Sally.
How's it going?
Good. How are you guys?
Living the dream.
Yeah.
Put kids to bed.
Oh,
Nice.
Yeah.
Finally.
How are you doing? Long?
I'm good.
20.
How old are your kids?
28 years, I think it's been since I've probably seen you. They are 6 and 4, almost 5.
Oh, okay.
Very busy. Yeah.
Yeah. I have an 8-year-old.
Oh, so you're in the trenches too a little bit. Having kids at older ages
but she-
kind of sucks.
8's a good age to
8?
kind of calm down a little.
Okay, that's good. That gives me hope for the future.
Mhm.
Because these two are crazy right now.
Cool. So it's only 6 here.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Y'all are
Time change.
California. Yeah, forget about that.
So nice to see you. Get to talk to you face to face.
Yeah. So you're Rob. Which one's Rob? I can't.
I'm Rob.
Okay.
This
Hi.
is Ryan.
And I'm Ryan.
Hey, Ryan. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
And we've gone through, well, we just watched Blade of Don Juan just a minute ago, so it'll be fresh in our heads. And we watched is it the prescription or the remedy?
The
There's a couple
prescription.
different names in there.
El Remedio.
Yeah. Prescription is the English title, and Remedio is the Spanish title, but that literally means like medicine or remedy.
Right.
But I like the prescription better because it's the doctor kind of prescribed.
A little more
ish.
official.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it just sounds weird in Spanish because prescription in Spanish is receta, which also means recipe.
Oh.
And you want people to think it was like a cooking thing because
Yeah.
it's very different.
It's a very different movie.
Yeah. Completely different movie. I really liked it though.
Which one?
The prescription. I liked
Oh,
it.
thanks.
I liked it.
And you didn't see the ending coming, right? The twist.
Oh gosh, well no.
Yeah.
No. These guys watch movies and really I'm watching it for entertainment purposes only. So no, I don't think ahead. I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen. And then it just happens. I'm like, oh, well, look at that.
Well, when I read the script, I didn't know what was going to. I didn't write it, so I didn't write that one. So I didn't know what was going to happen either.
Oh, well, that makes me feel better. See? The only one that can't guess things.
I do want to poll some people and see if they can see it coming. But looking at it from a different perspective, maybe.
Well, some of the other groups said they saw it coming almost immediately.
Yeah. But we've got a couple that didn't get it and 2 that got it.
Yeah.
What was their demographic?
Gay males.
Men that are in a couple partner.
They're partners.
Yeah.
Okay, see, that's kind of what our research showed, that gay people tended to get it.
Yeah, they see it coming a little bit further away than the straight people that aren't thinking that direction.
Yeah, and men were the worst at seeing it, which is fine. I mean, straight men, I should say.
Yeah.
Straight men were the worst.
I mean, it makes
Not
sense.
that that's bad. That's good, I
mean,
guess.
You
I don't
want
know.
that, right?
Yeah, I suppose. I think I was telling you earlier, it's not like an M. Night Shyamalan type situation. I think you could still enjoy it and see it coming.
Yeah, for sure.
Damn. That's what she said all nighting,
Yeah,
aren't
we're
we?
So we just watched. Can we just talk about Don Juan for a minute?
Sure.
So we just finished that one, and I really enjoyed it.
Thanks.
I think everybody liked it.
I really liked it.
Yeah, it was good. I liked it.
And that you wrote that one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, I wrote that. It was supposed to, it's funny because you were talking to me about shorts. Initially, I wrote it as a short, and I was talking to my friend Ben, helped me produce it. We went to school together, and he was like, "Well, why don't we just make a feature? It's Peru, it's cheap. We can raise money for that." And he gave me like a number, and I was like, "Yeah, maybe we can come up with that." And it was way off. Like it was really a lot less than it cost to make. But it was just a short initially. Yeah, it was just the arm wrestling match. They go to a party, they get into a fight, and then they leave, and that was it.
Then you had the kind of
and it had that last scene. Are we doing this with spoiler alerts, or
we usually say spoilers at the beginning when we go into our people know what they're getting into. We're going to tell them everything.
Okay, so
yeah.
I mean, I know a lot of people. I mean, most people probably haven't seen it, so not like when some of your other films.
Well, we're opening the horizon.
Indeed.
No, I thought it was really good. I loved that last scene, though. It made me laugh. I mean, I laughed through the whole thing, but that last scene was
Which was the last scene?
where they're walking to see the brother, and
okay.
they're just hamming out the jokes, basically recapping everything that happened through the whole movie, but in jokes.
Oh yeah, we kind of added that at the end. Like, are you guys familiar what ADR is?
I was gonna say it looked like it was ADR.
No.
Yeah.
When they do the voices
It's just
after.
Oh, okay.
So like that wasn't in the original script, but then I was like, hey, why don't we do like an 80s movie thing where they're like walking away and just kind of joking? And because I was told my friend Ben, I was like, I don't know, should we do like end it on a serious note, like artsy, or should we like go for this thing I wrote? And I wrote like after the fact, after we were editing it, and he's like, screw artsy, let's just go for fun.
I liked
So.
it. I liked it. It also kind of reminded me, which I know this has nothing to do with it, but it reminded me of the last scene of Dumb and Dumber, where like they they send the bus on and then they're talking and
you're it.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it felt to me like that closed the circle of it, because you started out with them just giving each other shit the whole time. And they go through all this and, they bond. They're not fighting anymore. They have the brother saving brother moment. And then you go back to them just giving each other shit again, which is, I've got two brothers. I totally get it.
Yeah. But this time it's like more playful and not
as serious.
Not as aggressive.
Angry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I'm sure in like a few days I'll be back to
completely.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. This got a grant, or it won an award from the Ministry of Culture. I didn't understand where that part was. It an award?
Oh, sure. Yeah. No, we had to legally put that at the beginning because it got a post-production grant.
Okay.
From government of Peru. So what you had to do is you had to show a complete cut. Like it could be the rough cut, it didn't have to be finalized. And you present that, and then they give you, I think we got like $90,000 to help cover post-production costs. So like editing, the coloring, the mixing, some of the music, and yeah, it was very helpful actually.
Yeah, I'm sure. So how long did it take you to film that? And you went to Peru, I'm assuming, and stayed. Does that take a long time?
Well, it took, we actually filmed it in two parts. We filmed the first part in 2009. 2009.
Okay. It's like, dang.
And then we filmed the part where it started with the push-ups in the bedroom and basically till they get into the taxi. Once they get into the taxi, that's why we filmed the first part. And I was trying to get, we kind of hit a wall with fundraising, and we're like, let's just shoot what we can, and maybe we can get some more money showing what we did. And then it took a couple of years, and I had like an agent and all this stuff helping, and actually had some interesting meetings with, I met with George Lopez's company.
Oh yeah.
And they were into it, except for that the wife was like, well, I don't want my kids to watch this kind of thing. So even though we like it, and I was like, well, it's not really for teenagers.
Yeah.
But whatever. I mean, you can't argue, right? So But anyway, so like I did meet some people with it, and then actually there's another company, I forget the name of the company, but they apparently it was between our movie financing the rest of our movie, and I don't know if you remember that Will Ferrell movie Casa de Mi Padre.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
So it was like between us and Will Ferrell, and they went with, I don't blame them.
How dare them pick Will Ferrell?
But I mean, at least that's what I was told by my the company that was trying to do it. Anyway, so then we went back in 2011 and finished the rest of the movie. Like at some point I was just like sending it out wherever I could. I even sent it out to the first 30 minutes or 20 whatever minutes it is. I even sent it out to the director of the Blair Witch Project, whose last name is Sanchez as well. And he watched it and he's like, oh man, I wish you would have just finished it however you could have. Because I think he was like, 2 years had passed and I think he was like bummed.
Yeah.
And also knows how hard it is because he's an indie film guy. But we made it, so we finished. So we went back. So like once they're inside the cab, that's the next. And in the very beginning, like the little kids, that was all shot in 2011. So to answer your question, it took a lot of years, but of actual filming days, I would say, I can't remember the exact number, but around 27 days.
Oh, wow. Okay. Huh. Interesting.
Now, did I read that some of this was shot at your childhood home?
Yeah, where'd you read that? Is that what I put on IMDb? Or did I tell you?
I think it was IMDb. I was just looking up
Yeah,
some
it
of
was.
the background stuff.
Yeah, so that house, the old house where they actually lived, that's where I lived when I was growing. I grew up in Lima until I was 8. And that's actually like 3 houses. They're like city houses, so they're all kind of, those 3 houses are kind of connected, but yeah, that's where I lived. Then the fancy house, that's my dad's cousin's house, and she just has this beautiful house. She's an interior designer or interior decorator, and she's very, very generous, letting us shoot there for 6 or 7 nights.
Yeah.
And for free, basically. I think we paid to fix her lawn after her time.
Bunch of kids running around on it.
That's so cool. I had no idea.
Oh, I mean, besides all the extras and the people you see in the film, there was at least 30 crew members. So, and they were there during the night, like just minding, like staying out of the way. And but funny story, like, I don't know if you remember, but there's tiki torches by their pool.
Yeah.
And I brought them, I knew they were doing this. I got them a very nice bottle of wine that I brought from Napa or something. And they popped it open and they were drinking it. They were kind of standing at their balcony watching us work. And well, the art guy, one of the production designer, or not designers, but one of the art department people was trying to light a tiki torch. And he lit the rag on fire that was still attached to the bottle.
Oh, Lord.
And he freaked out and he threw the whole thing in the pool. So then a whole layer of kerosene covered the top of the pool. And then it was just burning. And, we had this pool with a bunch of movie lights surrounding it, a huge flames on the water. And I was like, what do we do? Like, we just got to let it burn out because it's kerosene. Then I look up and we call them aunt and uncle because it's my dad's cousins, but I see them up there kind of like,
oh Lord,
just like, oh, that's cool. I talked to them later. I was like, and they're like, okay. So I went up to my dad's cousins, my aunt and uncle, and I said, yeah, about the pool. And they're like, was that like a special effects or something? Cool. And
did you just go with it? I would have.
Yeah, of course. I mean,
course.
and we're like, oh no, we panicked and threw fire into your pool. And
I would have went ahead and recorded that. I would have think it might become useful in a blooper reel or something, right?
Yeah, I think somebody recorded it and posted it on Facebook, and our producer that we hired to manage things down there was like, take that off in case something happens, and the insurance has to get involved. We don't want that.
Oh Lord. Okay, wait 5 years and then do it. 10 years. Statute of limitations. I don't know. That's funny.
If I was them, I'd be watching for that shot, the movie, then wait, what happened to the huge pool on fire scene in our backyard?
We did have a scene that we cut. It was right when Walter and his girlfriend Pamela, the owner of the house, were about to kiss. Like this big fat guy jumps into the pool and like just splashes them. It was so cold. I don't know if you could tell, but like it was September, which in Peru is fall already, and it was really cold. And I don't know. I feel bad that the guy went through it and jumped into the pool, and then it wasn't working in the editing room, and we cut it out.
Was that his only scene?
Yeah. Well, I'm sure he's in the background somewhere.
Yeah, okay. He'll be all right.
He was an extra, and we're like, we'll give you an extra $20 if you jump in the pool.
Worth it. Yeah,
Worth it.
exactly.
And I was going to ask if this was filmed in sequence, because it did look like they were younger in the beginning, which now makes sense. I'm catching up on my notes here.
Oh, sure. Yeah. They are like 2 years younger, although the whole movie takes place over the course of 24 hours. So
Right.
It shouldn't.
See, I did not pick up on that at all, that they looked older.
Well, it looked like
they looked a little bit. I don't think they ever said
Yeah.
the age, and they never said how old they were, did they?
17 and 19.
Was it 17 or 19?
Yeah. I was going to say 15 and 17, but I think you're correct since you guys watched it and I forgot.
I'm a note taker.
But yeah, no, 17 and 19. I didn't want to deal with like a 15-year-old
Yeah.
prom thing type situation.
Yeah.
Anyway. Also, he's in the movie, he's still a virgin, so.
It's true.
And can't walk.
And can't walk, yeah. Bless his heart.
I look, it says that you have edited 37 TV shows. Is that what you're doing now?
Yeah, I have, I guess. Wow. I mostly like reality show or cooking shows, or I did a few true crime shows, which I like, and some series, more like serious shows.
Yeah.
Those I prefer, like the true crime and like the more serious shows, but I do what I can get to make a living. So yeah, right now I'm working on a show called Girl Meets Farm, Food Network. I think it's on Sunday mornings.
So do you like directing or editing better?
Oh, definitely directing.
Okay.
It's just,
is that a stupid question?
well, no.
I don't
Some
know.
people, I'm sure some people would prefer to not have to deal with people. Like editing is great because you get to be alone and not have to deal with people so much, except for the producer every now and then when they give you notes.
Yeah.
Especially nowadays, because ever since the pandemic started, I've been editing from home.
Oh,
so
that's
even now I could still, I think they're just like, what's the point of renting all this space when
you can do it at home? I mean, if you can do it and save money, why not?
Sure. And I mean, I live in LA, so like I could protect my commute, depending on the job, is between 30 minutes to an hour every day, times 2.
Yeah.
So now I can just drop off my kid in school, have an hour and a half to myself to do whatever I want, and then start working. And you see the kids.
Yeah, that sounds like a dream. Bentonville traffic drives me crazy. I can't imagine LA traffic at all.
Now, where are you guys? Are you in Fayetteville?
No, we live in Rogers, but on the right on the line of Rogers Bentonville in Northwest Arkansas. So we get all the Walmart traffic traveling from Fayetteville to Bentonville to work at the home office.
I think I went to Rogers once. My dad was he's an eccentric person. He was a member of the Pigeon Rollers Club. He raised pigeons. And I don't know if you've heard of roller pigeons. Do you know what roller pigeons are?
No, but enlighten us.
They are, so there's a whole competition, a society, if you will, of people that get together with their flock of pigeons that they train, and then they go up in the air and they roll.
Really?
So they spin around, kind of like Sonic the Hedgehog, but in the sky. And you get points depending on how many of your pigeons roll, how many times, and maybe how coordinated. I don't know. I don't remember all the details, but my dad when we lived in Florida, my dad really got into that. And when we moved to Arkansas, he had to get rid of his pigeons. He couldn't bring them up. And, but he's still liked pigeons. So several days on the weekends, he had a list of members of the National Roller Association, whatever it was called. And we would spend time driving to all these different towns and just showing up to people's houses and saying, "Hey, can we check out your pigeons?" And most of the time they were very excited to share. And I remember going to Rogers, and there was an old man. He was probably, pushing 80, and he showed us his pigeons.
That is the most random thing.
I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
I mean, it's totally Arkansas, but that is very random.
So I'm pretty sure Anthony Hopkins as Hannibal Lecter references roller pigeons when he's interviewing Clarice Starling.
Really?
Yeah, I was watching.
I just watched that recently.
I was watching Hannibal this afternoon before I came to Rob's, and they were playing back tapes from Silence of the Lambs, and that came up, and they were talking about roller pigeons. There's 2 types, and depending on how you breed them together, if they tumble too much, they hit the ground.
I was about to say that. So there's polar rollers, and they don't fly.
Yeah,
I remember this because
Gosh.
they're flightless, and if you scare them, they roll on the ground. Now, what I found out is what they're actually doing is having seizures while that happens.
Oh. Okay, you need to make a whole movie about roller pigeons.
I don't know.
Listen,
but,
you can come to Rogers and shoot. We can make it just like your childhood days.
And so, like, the polar rollers are cool because they don't fly, and then they'll roll on the ground, just like Sonic. But if you crossbreed a polar roller and a regular roller, their offspring will roll but never stop and
Shut up.
crash into the ground.
Huh.
yep.
That is so weird. I'm going to research.
But I don't remember that in Silence of the Lambs, the movie, though. They must have like made that up and like were playing it, like in a scene.
Yeah.
Was
so
it actually? Like? Could you tell by the voice if it was actually Hopkins? And
I'm pretty sure it was. So it was when she was going back and listening to tape recordings of their old interview sessions. So I don't know if it was actually in Silence of the Lambs, but it was in like the first half of Hannibal.
When Julianne Moore's doing the research and stuff.
Yes.
That's so random.
We have been watching a lot of Hannibal.
Yeah, that's true.
now Hannibal, I remember watching that, but was that Anthony Hopkins?
Yeah.
The film was, and then you had the TV version with Mads Mikkelsen.
Okay, but then there was that weird one. Oh, that was
Red Dragon, maybe.
Oh, Hannibal. Okay, Hannibal's the one where he eats the brain at the end.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that movie was not that. I saw that in Omaha opening night, and it was packed. And when they started eating the brain, everybody was just kind of laughing, and some guy yelled out, "But it tastes better than Taco Bell." That's when I decided I'll never go to an opening night movie again in Omaha.
Yeah.
And that was a long time ago.
It's Omaha.
Anyway, well, I like Omaha since.
Back to the movie.
Did you guys ever see About Schmidt?
It's been a long
it's been a
time.
while.
So I lived in Omaha while they were filming that, and I went to a job interview at the bank that's it's in that Woodman of the World building where Jack Nicholson worked in the movie.
Oh.
And I went and interviewed, and the guy that was interviewing me, I was going to be a teller, although I'd never worked in a bank before, and I actually never had. I didn't get the job. Actually, I didn't want the job because you had to pay for parking. Anyway, the guy was super excited because he's like, "You know who you just missed? Jack Nicholson. He was just right here." And I was like, "Oh, damn." And then like 2 years later, the movie came out, and I remembered it.
Oh, that's Woodman of the
'Cause
World. I hadn't heard that in a long time.
It's like an insurance company.
Oh, I know. Remember we had, well, you probably don't remember. We had Woodman of the World camp in Clinton down at
Oh, I
Charleston.
remember.
You remember that? Yeah. Yeah. And it's,
I mean, I don't remember the actual camp,
It's
but I
still
remember
there.
like kind of riding the bus. There was like,
yeah, it was,
anyway.
the Woodman of the World thing was actually downtown, like right off the square. And then I guess if you had insurance through them, you got to go to this Woodman of the World camp that was out towards the Johnson Hole. I actually drove out there not too long ago. You talk about a place to film a movie. It's like an old camp, like see from like,
Talking to the mic.
sorry, something you would see from like one of those. Like the American Horror Story, the campground
yeah.
one, like
Horror
that
films.
one. Yeah.
Friday the 13th.
Yeah. I mean, they still kind of keep it up, but look kind of scary. My mom and I drove down there.
Well, I guess their headquarters are in Omaha.
I did not know that.
Well, there's a giant skyscraper for Omaha
If
that
they have
says Woodman Underworld.
then I would assume that's probably where they're banked out of. Yeah. Interesting. Anyway.
So you went from, and I might kick us out of here in a minute because we just set up our Zoom. This is our first time to do it, obviously. And if it does, I'll just restart it, and then we can pretend like that never happened. What I wanted to talk to you, I want to make sure we got through a little bit, is you grew up in Peru, and until you were 8?
Yeah.
And then did you go straight to Arkansas from there?
No, I lived in Newport Richey, Florida. It's in the Tampa Bay area.
I used to live right outside of Newport Richey. Yeah. I used to live in
really?
Yeah, Citrus County and Wesley Chapel and Crystal River and some of those places.
Okay, Crystal River sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Was there like an actual river that was really cold?
Yeah, it was comes out of Rainbow Springs and Three Sisters.
Yeah. Okay.
That's where everybody goes for the manatees. Manatees and scalloping.
All right.
That's the only thing that's there.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Newport Richey. It was a lot nicer back then before all the pills and all that hit.
Yeah, it's a little sketchy now.
Maybe it's always been a crap hole, and when you're a kid, you don't know any better.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I went there from 3rd grade to 7th, and then I moved to Clinton for 8th grade.
Short time.
Yep.
So how'd you get involved in film through all that traveling and moving around and everything?
I don't know. Like I always liked horror movies, and I've watched when I lived in Peru. I had cousins that were a little older, like 5 years older, and we would go rent Fright Night or like this Night of the Living Dead, Return of the Living Dead, all these kind of inappropriate movies, The Nightmare on Elm Streets, and we would watch them. And even though I was like 6 and they were probably like 11 or 12, I really got into them. And Gremlins was a big one. I was a big fan of Gremlins as a kid. And then when I got to Florida, my dad's brother lived in Florida. That's why we went there. He had a camcorder, and I was like, wait, I can record things. So I borrowed it in perpetuity till I broke it. And I was making just little dumb videos with my friends. We actually made a prequel to Gremlins, where I had my mom make us costumes and like stuffed mogwais. I'm sure I was really annoying.
That's amazing.
And we had our hamster. I had pet hamsters, and in our version, scientists gave these hamsters like some potion that turned them into mogwais and then became gremlins. So that's kind of how I started into it. And then I did some other. I was just messing around with friends, and then when I moved to Arkansas, I kind of didn't have those friends anymore or a camera. And then when I got back to Omaha, when I moved on after that, I moved to Omaha and kind of got back into it a little bit. I went to Creighton University in Omaha, and I majored in journalism and mass communications because it was the only major where I could do like video stuff. It was supposed to be more like news stuff, but that's where I learned how to edit. And so I was just doing whatever actually I had a professor that let me borrow his very nice camera, and I actually filmed a full-length terrible movie that I wrote in Omaha, and it just kind of on the weekends with friends and people that I put ads on. And then when I finally finished it and I started editing it and realizing how bad it was, I got my acceptance letter into USC. So I went to LA, and I was like, well, this movie sucks and I'm going to be very busy now. So I kind of just shelved that. But it was really fun. And, it was a good learning experience.
Oh, yeah.
Like I learned what not to do. Like I always knew you had a microphone. Like we had one of those boom microphones, and I was just found a person and like, here, hold this. And I thought, oh, as long as it's in the room, it'll record everything and it'll sound great. But they weren't actually aiming it at anybody. It all sounded.
Hold it up in the air like a Statue of Liberty.
Yeah, like it's here. You know, I've seen like movie. I think it was Something About Mary, where he's like holding a boom microphone from the car, and you can hear it inside the apartment, which is totally BS. And then so I thought like, oh, it'll just. And I didn't bother testing it until after listening. You know, so anyway, that's kind of how I got into it. And then USC is pretty intense. So like your first semester, you have to make 5 short films. You have like a week to come up with an idea, a week to shoot it, and a week to edit it, and then you screen it.
Wow.
Yeah, and then you do five of those. And they have pretty strict rules. Like at first, you can't have any dialogue, and they want you to like do more visuals. And they all suck, of course. Everybody's films suck, but you know you're learning.
Yeah. Unless you like that stuff.
Actually,
yeah, unless you like that stuff. To me, I'm like, oh my God.
Well, the funny thing is we got all these like working actors to be in them. Like you could just put an ad out and be like USC project. And I had this one guy show up who had real credits and he was really fun. And, you know, it was just like maybe 4 hours for this one night. And he happened to live nearby. I mean, he wasn't like anybody super famous, but I was like, why are you wasting your time doing this? After the fact, when I looked him up. But so it's kind of fun to be in LA and make these films because there's a lot of talent. There's a lot of talented people that are desperate.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know. It's not like we were taking advantage of it. They knew it was a student film, and that was like back in. So I went to USC in 2004. So this is before YouTube was really a thing.
Yeah.
Digital video. I mean, they had like DV tapes, but nothing like we would give the actors a copy of the short so they could put it on their reel, and it was on a VHS tape. So that's how.
Wow.
I mean, there kind of was DVDs already, but I don't think they knew how to rip them very well, so they always wanted VHS tapes.
Huh.
And there was a store that sold VHS like 5-minute VHS tapes just for that purpose, so you could.
Really?
So what are you? You have something next? Are you still writing?
Yeah. So like since I've been working on some stuff, you know, I did Navaja, and Navaja was like indie kind of fundraising, and that's really tough to do. So I've been trying to get companies involved.
Yeah.
So trying to sell some things, maybe I'm trying to get into like episodic television directing as well, and which is tough to do, but it's lucrative and fun. Probably stressful, I'm guessing.
Oh, I'm sure.
I have some friends that have broken into that recently, and editing's fine too. I mean, it beats, I don't know what else I would be doing, honestly.
So is getting into what you want to get into, is that kind of the whole it's who you know type thing, or is it, do you need to know people to be able to get into it, or do they take you strictly off stuff you show or whatever?
That's a good question. If I knew the answer, I'd probably be.
I mean, you said you just had friends that got into it, so I'm like, hey, hook 'em up.
Oh, well, like, okay, so like, I have a friend that got into it. There's like some of the networks have programs that you can apply to. I applied to one recently and had an interview, and so like I'm on a list. So there's a potential that I could get on that program. I should know by the end of the year. But like I have a friend that did the program and then met people, and then one of his friends brought him on as a director on a show.
Gotcha.
I have another friend that pitched something and sold it because of that. You know, if you pitch something and sell it, then you can negotiate like, hey, well, I want to, and you have to obviously be able to do it.
Right.
But
right.
So it's both. Like a lot of times you have to either have some buzz or like do something amazing, or I don't know, like if it's a different path for everybody.
Yeah.
It's not like one thing.
That makes sense.
It's like the annoying thing. It's not like, oh, you go to law school, you get your degree, you intern at a law firm, and you're a lawyer. It's not
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be hard, especially because I feel like in LA, that's what people go there for. I mean, so there's probably almost saturated. Not saturated, but I'm sure there's tons of people looking to do the exact same thing in LA because that's where it's at, right? I mean, I would assume.
Yeah. I mean, actors and
Yeah.
writers and directors for sure.
Yeah.
So you just have to be able to stand out.
Yeah.
You talked about being really into horror. Did you ever think about trying to do a horror film, like an indie or a B movie or something?
Yeah, actually, I do have a couple. One was like a vampire movie set in Peru, like in the beach. And then there's another one that a friend of mine optioned a script that I like a lot, but it needs like a rework, and the writer's kind of pretty beginner. I just haven't had the time to.
Yeah.
There's like, okay, so like editing takes up a lot of my day, and then I have family, and then there's a couple things I'm pursuing that might lead to something. So like the horror thing I really want to do, it's just a matter of like priorities, you know.
We get that.
How much
Yeah.
of your personal
It's
time
a lot-
do you take into it?
It's a lot easier to do this if you're single,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't want to train that.
As you take a drink.
No. I'm very happy with my wife and kids.
Me too.
I'm sure you are.
Did you have anything you want to pitch out to people or let people know about yourself? Because we'll be posting this on everywhere we can to get you, our people, anybody that listens to ours or subscribes to us will now know about your films and what you're doing.
Sure. Let's see. If you want to watch The Blade of Don Juan, which is La Navaja de Don Juan in Spanish, you can watch it on Amazon. I think it's $3 and maybe Vudu. I don't remember. It used to be on more things, and now everything's kind of getting conglomerated.
Mm-hmm.
Also, if you want to watch Remedio or The Prescription, that's on HBO Max until next June. And then I have a website. It's tomsanchezfilm.com, but it's mostly just what has my directing reel, and it has information on those two films. And I also made a music video that I have. I made a few, but
Heyo. Now
one
you're
that I
speaking
like.
my language.
I have one music video I like. We made for Team Love Records, which is the artist is Cap Gunku. It's called Liar in Texas in a Green Room in Memphis. And it's fun. It's very low budget, but I like the way it turned out. And that's on Vimeo and YouTube.
Okay, fine. We're going to look at that.
Yeah.
Well, if it means anything, which I know to you it doesn't, Rob. But anyway, I am not a movie connoisseur. I read usually the Parent's Guide on this podcast, and then I roll out because the movies are not my thing. But I'm also not a big subtitle fan. But I loved your movie. I really did like it. Like, my dad's going to be so proud that I watched it. Like, I didn't even need to fall asleep. I was like really into it. It was good. I really liked it. So good job.
Thanks. That's what my in-law said the same thing.
Really?
Like, I hate subtitles, but I really liked your movie.
I really did like it. Like, it was good.
I mean, it was very good paced, which helps a lot when you're one of those kind of people.
Yeah. I thought it was funny. A lot of good humor in it.
Yeah, there were a couple really solid one-liners in there. Not like anybody stole anything, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Mario's denial.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was funny. He didn't know.
Didn't call the cops. Didn't have the knife.
Yeah.
You know, that guy, the guy that played Mario, his name's Rodrigo Viaggio. He actually made his own film. I don't know where you can watch it, though. I don't know if it's out yet. Like, it played in theaters in Peru. This played in theaters in Peru, by the way.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, awesome.
Navaja. Yeah, so like, I didn't even give you guys the whole spiel. So like, it premiered in the Austin Film Festival. It did a few other festivals, and then actually it was playing on Encore for a few years. They did like a 2-year license, Encore Espanol.
That's cool.
Yeah, Rodrigo made a movie. I haven't seen it because I wanted to go down to the premiere, but it kind of conflicted with my life because it was in Lima. But and I just had a lot of stuff going on, but I wanted to go, and it's called Irresistible Seducers, I guess, in English. I don't know if it'll ever make it out here or not, but I just thought it was cool that he made his own film later. And then I don't know if you guys want to hear the story of how we got it on the short film on HBO.
Absolutely. I'm curious.
I would love to, because wow.
Okay, so like
on that one.
So like my friend Xavier Galindo, I met him in San Francisco during a screening of Navaja. They have a Latin film festival, and they invited me to come and screen it, and they actually put me up in this apparently haunted hotel called the Whitmire, I think, or Whitmire Hotel. I forget the name. It's in the Tenderloin district. It's like I show up, my Uber drops me off in front of the hotel. As soon as I roll in, this car hits an old lady.
Oh, shut up.
It's like midnight. This car hits an old lady, not like super hard, because she gets up and starts yelling at the guy and then drives off, and I'm like, where am I? What's going on here? And it looks, and I don't know how familiar, are you guys been in San Francisco at all? Like Tenderloin is,
I was just
Tenderloin district.
Days, yeah.
What part of town?
The guy I was staying with lived about 10 miles from the pier where you can see Alcatraz.
Okay.
That's all I can remember.
10 miles. I don't know how big San Francisco is. But Tenderloin is like pretty gritty. And I check in, I go to my room, I put my luggage, and I go back to the front desk, and I'm like, okay, I got a little bit of time. It's like, I go to the clerk, I'm like, any place to get a drink around here? Like, and he's like, well, I don't think you should go. I was like, okay, whatever. So I'm walking around, and it's like a ghost town. There's nobody in the streets. And after a few blocks, I see a bar, and I go up to it, and the bouncer's like, we already did last call. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll go. Dead. But the next day, like, it's filled with basically junkies, like in the middle of the day. Like, what's going on at night that they're like not in the, like, where are they going? Like,
yeah.
They got the fix.
Yeah. So anyway, I met Javier at the screening of of the film, and then we kept in touch. He's Peruvian too, and he said he lived part of his time in Peru. He lived like a few blocks away from where the film was filmed, by my grandma's house. And we probably, we're similar age, so you might have
you probably crossed paths and knowing.
Yeah, or at least we're like, and he's actually in Remedio. He's the guy.
Oh.
There's two guys, but he's the one that's like has more lines. The one that's trying to hook up with
the girl with the prescription.
Yeah. So he wrote the movie. He wrote it, and he sent me the script because he wanted my feedback. He'd done this a few times, like sending me scripts. The other scripts, I think he made himself. And then I asked, are you going to direct this yourself? And he said, actually, I want someone else to direct it. He was trying to get a lady to direct it. I don't know if he had one in mind specifically, but I said, hey, if you don't find anybody, I'd love to do that. I like the script. So he said, okay, he agreed. And I gave him 2 scene suggestions. I said, I think we're missing 2 scenes. Care to guess what 2 scenes I added?
The
one
vibrator scene.
That's one of them.
Got one.
I don't know.
The masturbation scene.
Hey, you're good.
Man,
all right.
Look at you.
I watched it 2 or 3 times the other day. Like over the course.
Oh my.
Well, just over the course of the week, because the first time I watched it, it was something was going on with the subtitles.
Oh.
And my Spanish is not good enough to. I think it was an issue with my TV or my Fire Stick, not on there, because the other 2 times I watched it, it was fine. But my Spanish is not good to understand all of the dialogue without subtitles.
Sure.
But yeah.
Good guesses.
I mean, I couldn't watch Y Tu Mamá También without the subtitles because of and I had written and directed in Spanish. But yeah, quick Mexican slang. Anyway,
Oh, so fast.
so I did so I suggested those two scenes. I wanted the audience to see where she lived, like what kind of environment she lived in. It was important that we established that she has a roommate, like just also you see her situation. If you have a roommate and that roommate shares your actual room with you, that means something. And then also to show her prudishness or like, hesitation with sex, awkwardness or whatever. So like in the original scene, they kiss, and then the next day, or sorry, the original script, they kiss. Also, there was no dialogue in the. I hope Javier doesn't get mad that I'm late, but whatever. And sorry, so like they kiss, and then there is in the original script there you couldn't hear what they were saying. They kiss, and then the next day they're at the school, and they have that scene. And I was like, well, I don't know if people can like fully understand what happened. And also it's very complicated because he is like, I don't want people to think she's in love with her friend because she's not in love with her friend. It's more like she realizes she's attracted to women
Right.
as well and not. So that was like a whole dance there. It was difficult to like, because, initially you're like, well, we should make her fall in love with her. It's like the more traditional. Anyway, that's why he's like, I want it to be purely physical thing, like not an emotional thing. Like it's not that it's
Right.
her, it's physical,
right?
Whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then how did we get it on HBO? Like we premiered it, we submitted it to festivals, and we got accepted into the Outfest LA, which is a big festival here, which is really cool. We played it there. I played in the Oaxaca Film Festival. I got to go to Oaxaca. And then I played at a few other festivals. And then HBO Max came out, and I was trying to look for Beetlejuice on HBO Max. I was actually trying to look for the Beetlejuice cartoon because my daughter, like me, likes scary movies, even though she's young. And they didn't have the Beetlejuice cartoon, but when I typed in that, this other short film that played in our group at Outfest popped up, and I was like, whoa. Actually, I'll give credit to my wife because she's the one that was like, hey, that's that film from your screening. And I was like, because I wouldn't have noticed. And I was like, wait, you're right. And I even hit play to make sure it was. And I was like, how did that get on HBO Max? I had no idea that they did short film programming, because making a short film, you never expect, other than playing festivals, but putting it online, like there's no real outlet.
Yeah.
So I have a friend that's an agent, and I said, hey, can you find me the contact information for acquisitions at HBO Max? And she did. But first she watched my short to make sure that it wasn't embarrassing.
Make sure it's legit. Yeah.
And then she gave me an email, and I think it was for like the head of acquisition. So I emailed them saying, hey, I have a short film. Here's a link to it. I noticed that this other short film played with me at Outfest, also is on HBO Max. So, and then I just sent it thinking they'll ignore it because that's pretty typical. And surprisingly, they wrote me back and they said, oh, yes, here is the email of the person that acquired this film. Send this link to them, or I've copied them or whatever. So like, then that person reviewed it, and then they said, we'd like to license it. So,
awesome.
And it was for 2 years. They actually like made the offer in August of 2020, which is really exciting because that was a terrible year for everyone.
Yeah.
Good time to have on something new.
Yeah, and people are home watching.
Yeah, well, except for that they're like, okay, but we're not going to put it on air until June of 2021.
Oh.
But we knew for,
yeah.
10 months or so that it was going to happen, and it was going to be for 2 years. And not only is it on HBO Max, but it's also on HBO Latino.
That's awesome.
On air. They do like, and I was like, why do you guys do short films? Because they only do either Spanish language or Latino themed content for shorts. or mostly. And it's because they said that HBO Latino, unlike regular HBO, needs filler content for in-between programming. Like in HBO, normal HBO, they have like behind the scenes stuff or like little featurettes about upcoming things, and they don't have as many of those. So they decided, which is really, really cool, that they decided to, because they pay, I mean, you know,
great idea.
They pay you money for your project. It's not like a charity thing, like, you know, and so it's nothing we were expecting. It was totally random.
That's awesome.
And cool.
So how long did that process take from the time you saw that film on HBO Max to the time where you got the email saying, hey, we're gonna, do you remember? I mean, is that like
a few months? I mean, from when the time that I actually saw it, because then I had to like think for a minute, like, how do I, and I was like, oh, I'll ask my friend. A month, maybe a month and a half.
Okay. I just didn't know if like that was something like you emailed them and you thought, well, I won't hear back. And so you kind of like forgot about it. And then all of a sudden, boom, here's an email saying, hey.
I think it just took them a couple days.
Oh, wow.
To get back to me.
Wow.
It was pretty fast.
That's awesome. That's cool, Tom. How exciting. Gosh. Hey, so I was going to ask you, are all the actors in the movie, are they all Peruvian? Are they all
Which
from
one?
like from
the
Blade of Don Juan? Are they all from Peru? Like, did you scout them from
Peru?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, by the way, did you catch the one actor that's in both?
Was it the very first lady? Who was it? I'm not gonna lie. I thought the very first, the skirt lady that the little boy was looking up her dress at the very beginning. I honestly thought, I was like, I've seen that lady before, but I can't figure out where from. She looks so familiar, but I am IMDb'd her. She's nothing. Yeah, I mean, she's something, but just not who I thought it was.
Yeah, no, she's not. Well, okay, so everybody's from Peru.
Okay.
In that film, but there's one of the actors has, and I say actor, non-gendered, is in Remedio as well. And I don't know if you caught who.
I didn't.
I didn't catch it.
Unless it was Caesar.
Caesar?
The transsexual prostitute.
Do you even remember?
It was Caramello Candy. Her name's Claudia Solis. She played the friend in Remedio.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, she did.
Okay, she played Jocelyn.
Yeah.
That's why she looked familiar.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. Yeah. A little older. I mean.
Yeah.
There was 2011 to 2018, I think, is when we filmed that. But yeah.
She got to do a little more acting, and
her role's bigger in the prescription.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like screen time wise, because the other movie's longer. Yeah. Anyway, so that was Navaja was her very first film. She's done some television in Peru since, and then she did this film for us. And then she recently starred leading role in a film they shot in Peru. I think it's being edited right now. But she's a good friend of ours. I mean, I didn't know her until Navaja, like I met her during audition, but she's come out to LA a few times. She was studying acting here. She came out to when we did Austin Film Festival for Navaja, we had her and the two brothers and the lady that played the maid. And then the most famous actor we have in our film is the lady that played the grandma. Like she was like on some huge hit TV show down there that like whenever I hang out with her, they're always asking her for autographs. It's kind of funny.
Her name is Irma, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Irma Maudi.
Yeah.
She's really cool. And she came out actually right after Austin. She went to LA afterwards. And I was giving her a tour, and then there was like I don't know if you guys know who Ima Sumac is. It's a singer she's Peruvian, but she's kind of like had a thing out here in Hollywood in the 50s. she was having there was like a event for her, and that a friend of mine runs, and they said, "Oh, you have Irma, have her come out and come to this thing." And like, I was like, okay, and I did, and I was surprised, like even here, like all the Peruvians that live in LA were like, "Oh my God, it's
Really?
Doña Nelly," which is her character name,
Oh, how
and that's
funny.
just funny. Or the two friends, this Crazy Face and Chicken.
Uh-huh.
So the guy that plays Chicken, that was his first film too.
He did
But
a
the other
great
guy,
job dancing like a chicken. He was perfect. When they said, "Why do you call him Chicken?" And he's like, "Because he dances like a chicken," and then it peers over to him. I'm like, he even had like the head going, but he didn't like it. It was a subtle chicken move, and I was like, "Oh, that's hilarious."
So the other guy that plays Crazy Face, he was like a childhood actor, and even when we were filming in the neighborhood, like when they go and ring the doorbell, like the neighborhood kids would come up to him and be like, "Oh my God, it's you! Can I get an autograph?" And like,
Really?
yeah, it's kind of weird.
That's,
I mean, it's fun, but
yeah.
like it's just kind of like these people are famous.
That's awesome though.
That's
cool.
good that the other guys, like the guy that played Mario, was able to keep going and do their own
Yeah.
thing because of that.
Yeah, he's been in a few films down there. So,
are they all still based in Peru, or have any of them made a leap to LA or?
I don't know if anybody,
Does
the bad guy in like, I'm just trying to think of like the bigger actors. The mean guy at the party, he's kind of a bigger actor too. I mean, not like a super big.
Right.
I don't know if he's made it out.
The curly haired kid.
Oh no, not him. The one,
Pamela's man.
Oh,
yeah,
gotcha. Okay.
yeah, Guillermo, exactly.
Yeah,
Sebastian.
gotcha. So, is there like a Hollywood in Peru, like a place that you know what I'm saying? Like, is there?
Well, it would be Lima, I guess,
okay.
but no, their industry is still like developing.
Okay.
I think they finally made a Netflix show down there about soccer.
Okay.
I think it's out now. Actually, no, the director in Spanish is called Contigo Mi Capitan. I don't know if you guys followed World Cup last time around or not.
I didn't.
My brother's
a little bit.
His brother's obsessed with it.
So Peru hadn't been in the World Cup in a long time. Like, maybe I'm not a huge soccer person, but I want to say late 70s. Peru hadn't made it to the World Cup. I mean, they have a lot of competition down there to get in to qualify.
Yeah.
But they made it last time, and their star player tested positive for cocaine.
Oh.
But only, and I don't know all the details other than like in a certain format of the test, and he was claiming that he drank coca tea, which is like a tea made of coca leaves, or that there was like residue or something. I don't know.
Right.
And then he did his own test and was negative, but the FIFA people wouldn't accept it. And there was like a whole thing because he was going to be disqualified. Yeah. And he wasn't allowed to practice for a certain amount of time. And then it got overturned in court because they said, look, this test should count. So he did finally get to play. Okay. But there was like a lot of like he couldn't participate for a few weeks leading up. Yeah. So they made a show about it. Okay. Interesting. That's a Netflix show.
That reminds me of when Elaine Bennis gets tested and there's opium in her test, and it's the poppy seeds. It's the poppy seeds. That's what did it, right?
Right.
That's funny.
Yeah, and there was like diehard fans were like, no, he must have been with like this girl he was partying with. She did cocaine, and then like it rubbed off.
I'm sure they kissed, and oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, you gotta have your star player. Yeah, you don't want to lose your star player.
So I don't know, and like really, like is it a big deal? It's not like he's. I don't know. It seems like it'd be a weakness, not a help. But what do I know? I don't know much about soccer. Being on coke.
I don't know much
Your
about
heart,
soccer or coke, so
just blow up. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right. Well, I mean, we appreciate you doing this for us, and
yeah, sure, my pleasure.
we'll definitely let you know how it all turns out with the video and stuff. And I won't post anything until we get it edited, and I'll send something over to you if you want to be.
Oh, okay.
If you want to say, no, don't post that video, just audio, please.
Yeah, I would have dressed up if I knew.
Listen,
No, I'm just kidding.
I was going to say, look at.
Just gave baths to kids and brushed teeth. And
I just hope it sounds okay because I don't have like a real microphone.
You sound good coming through here. Like,
yeah, we can.
You're
we can all
super
hear you.
clear. Yeah,
no
super
problem.
clear.
All right.
So I'm sure it's great. But it was good to see you. Long time. I like keeping up with you on Facebook though. I like it when you and Courtney Potts start.
The last thing I remember is talking about her flight to Barcelona where there's a crying kid.
Well, she gets on there.
And I was like, well, which I totally get. But I was telling about this weirdo that like we saw him, this guy he ordered 4 shots at this bar, which was in the Vegas airport, I think. We were flying back from Texas. And we saw him take 4 shots at a bar right by the gate. And he had a boombox, and he was just blasting the boombox in the gate while doing these shots. And Amy's like, that guy's going to go on our flight. And I was like, oh, God. And he did.
Of course.
And but we went to the very back of the plane because we were flying into Burbank Airport, which deplanes from both the front and back. It's a hack.
There you go.
And it's Southwest, so you pick your own seats.
Nice.
So we went to the very back, and he was in the front. And we were about to take off when the captain was like, "We gotta go back to the gate." And I was like, "What the? Why? I want to get home." And then, sure enough, I guess that guy
Boombox got kicked off.
Boombox was playing the boombox, and he wouldn't stop. So they escorted him off the flight.
That is hilarious. Like, are you talking about a boombox that like sits on your shoulder, like 1980s?
Well, I guess it was a pretty big pill speaker. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I think it was like his phone was, so it wasn't like a full blown, but it was big. It was like still big. Like I have a little Bose, but it was a big thing, and it's like, why are you blasting this? Like,
you're not on a beach.
Who does that?
Well, yeah. That's just silly.
Someone that takes 4 shots before boarding a plane.
Apparently. Good Lord. Gosh.
Yeah.
That's nuts. Oh, goodness. Anyway. Well, cool. Well, it's good to see you. Good to catch up. And I don't know. I just thought you and Rob would hit it off because y'all are both movie people.
Sure. Yeah, I listened to you guys' Nope episode. I really liked it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
I was listening to the It one. I never finished it because I kind of got sidetracked. I also didn't like it as much, but I really like Nope. And then I thought you guys had some cool things to say about it. So
it's a cool movie.
And I took my daughter to see it twice in the theater, even though she's 8.
Hey, I didn't think it was that scary at all. I didn't. I mean, okay, I'm 43, but still, I think my kids would have been like, what? Huh?
We also took her to see Smile recently.
Holy shoot. How was it? I can't go see it. I can't.
Have you guys, none of you seen it?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Smile? Oh, okay. It's good. I know it says less than a minute, reminiscent of The Ring, and which Aria likes too. But
I can't. Rob,
anyway, yeah.
Rob does this freaky smile, and I can't stand it. And that the trailer I saw was just the guy in the psych ward doing that smile. Hey.
They're back.
Hey, we'll let him go then. But anyway, I don't think I can see it. It's too freaky looking to me. But anyway.
That's all right.
Yeah. Anyway, well, hey, we appreciate you, Tom.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And
Thanks.
I'll reach out to you afterwards, and anything else we need to follow up on, or just shoot the shit.
Sure. Yeah.
Awesome. We appreciate
That's
it.
Good.
Go see Tom's movies. They're good.
Yay, Tom.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.
All right.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
If you're just coming in for the last 3 seconds of this podcast, Tom Sanchez was just with us, and he has a short on HBO Max called The Prescription. Check it out. He directed and helped produce it. He has a full-length feature that we bought from Amazon called The Blade of Don Juan. I'm not going to butcher the Spanish pronunciation. It's delightful. It is a little bit of a super bad type film, and it made all of us laugh. It was very well done. You can also check out Tom Sanchez's work at tomsanchezfilm.com. The man is very busy. He's working on more stuff. And as always, you can reach us on Spotify, Chromecast, iTunes, wherever you get your podcasts. We would really like to thank Tom for giving us a minute and letting us pick his brain and just talk random bullshit. And he was very gracious. And I'm pretty sure after our last conversation post-podcast that he will be joining us on some movie reviews. So you can look forward to that as well. Thank you so much for listening to Talking with Words. We will be back with more fantastic content as soon as possible. Have a great one.
Are we recording?